Hey, what's up everybody? Alf here, and if you're excited about Retro Cup today, well, this video is for you. We're going to talk about the team to beat in this format, as well as 3 Pokemon you should be trying. So Retro Cup begins today. It's a pretty easy format to wrap your head around. Essentially in Retro Cup, all Pokemon typings that weren't available in the first generation of Pokemon games are banned. So you get no dark types, no fairy types, and no steel types. Most of those types were built to check a very specific category of Pokemon, in particular dragon and psychic types. Those Pokemon remain pretty good here. But there's a team to beat in this meta. And if you are not feeling up for it, maybe it's just the team to run. But in Retro Cup, my expectation is you're going to see a lot of these 3 Pokemon. It's Walrein, Trevenant, and Lickitung. You probably know these Pokemon, especially the first 2, because they are a fundamental core in both Great and Ultra League. Lickitung, however, in Great League is a new addition. Lickitung is the highest ranked Pokemon in the format. It's also one of the few Pokemon that reliably beats both Walrein and Trevenant. Reliable is kind of a funny word here. This is why this team is so good. You beat them, but they always have win conditions against you. And it's something that makes this team actually kind of fun to play, despite the fact that it's a bit of a cliche. But even your worst matchups tend to be fairly soft losses with this team. It's pretty hard in this format to blank a Trevenant. It's really hard to blank a Walrein, and it's also pretty hard to blank a Lickitung. Now, there are some Pokemon that do that, and that's kind of what we're going to get into here. There's a few new additions to the format that I think if you haven't already gone ahead and built, you should tackle. The first Pokemon I want to talk about is Araquanid. Araquanid is a new addition, and it has the distinction of being one of the only Pokemon currently available to us that actually resists every single thing that Walrein does. Plain and simple, this beats Walrein. It's not a super fun matchup to be in, and it's not a super great matchup, but it beats Walrein, and it beats Walrein hard. It also has a decent matchup against Trevenant, given that you're doing neutral damage with Bug Bite. Bug Bite is actually just a pretty darn strong move. All the one-turn fast moves really pile on the damage, and your play pattern with Araquanid is essentially debuff them with Bubble Beam and try and chew through them with Bug Bite as best you can. I think you're going to see Araquanids. Araquanid is not particularly bad against any of the Pokemon listed on that primary team. And it's a pretty good addition to this meta where we desperately needed something that could really brick wall a Walrein. Such a thing did not exist in Great League until now. And if you've not yet built an Araquanid, I highly recommend seeing if you've got a decent Dewpider out there to do it. And don't worry if you've got a little extra attack on this thing. Bug Bite as a one-turn move benefits immensely from fast attack breakpoints. Don't feel bad, for example, if you build one with a little extra attack on it. You might in fact think it's a better IV set. The second Pokemon I want to highlight is actually another Licky. Lickitung is an extremely difficult Pokemon for many players to have acquired. The XL candies for it are a big haul, given that it hasn't really been a featured spawn in quite a while, and it can be quite hard to acquire. Now, Licky is not as potent a neutral fighter as Lickitung is. It doesn't necessarily win some of these insane neutral matchups. It doesn't have the bulk, but what it does have that Lickitung doesn't is a legitimate closing move against ghost types. You'll find yourself sometimes in scenarios where your Lickitung gets batched up with a Trevenant, but you're below half health, and you simply cannot do enough damage to the thing before it kills you. Licky is going to be Shadow Balling. It is a reasonable substitute and replacement for your Lickitung. It has some improved matchups. Now, there is one catch on Licky. You probably want Body Slam on it, which is a legacy move. If you weren't around for Lickitung Raid Day in the pre-pandemic world, you probably want to Elite TM a Licky to do that. You could also run it with Shadow Ball Body Slam as a closer. It's going to be a bit of a surprise to folks. Or sorry, you'd want to run it with Shadow Ball Earthquake as a closer. But I don't know that that's necessarily the smartest play. It's just a viable play. Its job is primarily to give you what Lickitung does against ghost types, but with an actual closing move, as opposed to Lickitung, where sometimes you're awkwardly trying to deal resisted damage or double resisted damage in the case of Body Slam to kill something like a Frostlass before it kills you. The other new addition to this metagame that I really want to highlight is Shadow Alolan Marowak. I do hope that you got your hands on one of these. This is a Pokemon that, while it doesn't sim favorably against Walrein, that matchup is entirely dependent on whether or not the Walrein can bait and land an Earthquake. If you call their shot, if you take an Icicle Spear, you're going to win that matchup nice and cleanly. You're also going to beat Trevenant. You don't have a great Lickitung matchup, of course, but you're good against those two, and you're excellent against the rest of the field. This is a field where fire types borderline don't exist. So having one on your team is sometimes going to find its way to making your life really, really, really easy. So if you've got one, it's worth trying. I also think that the flying fire types, both Charizard and Talonflame, are viable here. They just have a tendency to play against Walrein fairly poorly in Great League due to the fact that they are a little bit squishier here than they are in Ultra. I think Talonflame against Walrein in Ultra League is a pretty comfortable matchup for Talonflame. In Great League, you take a lot from Icicle Spears, more so than you're probably comfortable with, and it can be a little bit challenging to win those matchups. Another sleeper fire type that you should probably consider is Blaziken. Blaziken is actually pretty darn good against all three of those Pokemon on that main team. You should be able to Blaze Kick your way through a Trevenant, and counter is obviously quite good against both Walrein and Lickitung. The downside to Blaziken is that you actually just are too squishy to cleanly win, say, a Zero Shield matchup against Walrein. You have a hard time killing the Walrein before Earthquakes you, and that's pretty rough. You do want to keep that in mind. You'll want to potentially preserve shields for it, but it is the kind of Pokemon that when your opponent sees, they go, I don't know how to beat that. Ultimately, I think Retro Cup is a great opportunity to try out some different Pokemon that maybe get pushed a little. I think you're going to find that this format does very heavily revolve around these Pokemon, even if they're not always all together. Lickitung safe swaps in particular, I think, are going to be extremely popular in the first couple days. So having a plan to take advantage of the fact that you're going to see Lickitung swapped in on you is a good thing. I think if your team does not have a proper way of dealing with that, you're going to be sad. That's actually one of the limitations to this very team, is that a Lickitung safe swap, your best play is to match it with your own Lickitung. And then you'll find yourself, unfortunately, in a scenario where you're losing the alignment battle in a matchup that depends immensely on alignment. So this team, I actually think, favors losing the lead in the mirror versus winning it. You may not even want to swap out if you think that that's what you're going to see. But I do think that if I were to comp together a team for day one of this format, I'd be looking to put a Pokemon in a spot where I could deal with those swap ins. Personally, I'd even consider something like this, where you drop the Trevenant and you essentially make any opponent who brings the Trevenant against you feel bad about that decision. With Noctowl here, Trevenant can basically not touch it. All of these Pokemon favored against that Pokemon, and Noctowl favored against Lickitung, where you don't take any real damage from the Lick Fast move. This is maybe not the best team against an opposing Walrein, but it does get the job done. And it'll probably be something that I run on stream, because I stream every single day of the week. So come check us out. You want to give us some team suggestions or see how the format breaks down, you can find me live on Twitch. All that information is down below. I hope some of this video is helpful to you, and I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.